How many times does he fail
Right,
out of 10?
3?
Well, he fails 7 out of 10
2
times.
out of 3, 7 out of 10, right.
So it's the same thing in life in that, when you fail, you just need to maneuver that GPS. You need to learn from that mistake and go forward and not dwell on it.
And I think we fool ourselves a lot of times with success. We fool ourselves as to the reason why we're successful. We don't even really know. Things happen, and for reasons maybe beyond our control in a lot of cases, and we attribute ourselves that we're the ones that made that happen. But we don't know. So until you fail, until you realize that something you personally didn't work, you don't know to fix it or work on it. So I think your approach, it was great. I think that's incredible to go and ask somebody. How many of us do that? Have the guts enough? Have the interest enough to go up to someone and say, why did I fail? And how can you help me get better? I think everyone out there wants to improve. Not everyone, maybe. That's going a little far. But a lot of your competitors may not have wanted you to improve. But I think a lot of people want to help people.
Yes, sir.
And they're willing to if you ask them to do it. Yes. And it's the same is true as business. How many times do we go back and ask, why did we not win this job? What can we do to improve ourselves?
No, that's a great point. I want to let's move on because you had brought this up, Jim, during the commercial break about, and I know you like to talk about this, uniqueness. And I know you had. You
had mentioned earlier, and William mentioned that there is something a little different about what you teach, about what your philosophy is in martial arts. So, what is it? What brought this about, and how are you different and unique from others in your industry?
Well, I think one thing, first of all, the BAMS means better attitude makers. Wherever I go, I'm going to improve your attitude. I believe even in competition, I love competition. I don't care in business. I want that competitive spirit, that fire drives me. And I think that's what brings about my uniqueness. My uniqueness is about the energy that I bring. I can teach a class. I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to have you leaving out that school feeling like you just on cloud 9. If we sitting there having a conversation, I mean, I just love what I do. And that is, a lot of people, they do martial arts. And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, but I know it stands out because I think this is a blessing that I just happen to.
Well, let me go to something we were talking about before we were on the air, and that is it's not just a defensive mechanism. It's not just a fighting skill. It's a philosophy.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
It's in your lifestyle.
Yes,
so
sir.
you were going on. Tell me, let's go a little bit more about that, about how it affects you as not just a child, but as an adult, and how it affects you in your community.
Well, I think, one, it makes you a better parent. It makes you a better business person. It makes you a better instructor. It makes you a better leader. And I think the greatest leaders are the ones that give. I think even in business, it's not about being a manager. It's about being a leader. So I lead by example. I remember we were in the room, and I dropped the water down, and I started mopping the water up. In the martial arts, you don't see masters do that. They sit back, and everyone else serve them. In my school, I serve my students. I mean, everybody's a sir and a ma'am when they walk through the door. Even a little 2-year-old kid, they, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I want to be that living example of breeding what I expect them to do. I would never, and that's the same thing in business. I think businesses grow and expand when the leader is always ahead. You can go to the gym and Brian Tracy talks about it. I mean, when he travels, he never goes to any place without first checking out the gym. He got to go in the gym. He got to get on the treadmill. He got to work out. So it's not just about going out there and doing your mental aspect, but it's the mind, it's the body, it's the spirit. And when people see that, there's no room for excuses. There's no room for excuses.
I love this, and I love the fact that you're engaged, and you're willing to get engaged. And Mark, we've talked about this a lot of times, the change in management style over the years, the philosophies that have changed. It's no longer the stand at the door and point philosophy. Go do this and come back and report to me. It's now, let me go do that with you, or let me show you how to do that and how to get engaged. I think that's incredibly important.
And it's extremely important because it really shows true leadership. And it shows that the leader is not insecure.
Yes, sir. Because
insecure people feel like they have to put themselves ahead of other people at the expense of other people. And so it's a great point, Willie. It's a great point. So, and I think you mentioned this, you hit on this a little bit, but I want to go back to it. Most successful entrepreneurs have been inspired by something or someone that led them to take action. I'm a voracious reader, so I read a number of books like Think and Grow Rich and The Science of Getting Rich, and that really inspired me. In fact, I'm reading a great one right now. I don't remember the name. It's by P.T. Barnum. I'll mention the name next next show. But these type of books inspire me because they really show the power of what any individual can do. So who or what was that for you?
Well, one, as you were talking, I was thinking about Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant from Within. That was an incredible book. Les Brown is another one I like to read. And when you started talking about books, I just think about my wife because she said, if you want to find my husband, you can find him in the bookstore. You know, he's addicted to reading, and you're right. Education, so that's what separates the entrepreneur from, you know, just the person that just wants a regular 9 to 5. Education, self-education, and it goes back to the competition. Still to this day, when I realized I got a weakness in business because I broke down with communication with my, you know, one of my students and one of my customers, I go to the bookstore and find the book to improve that skill and come back and showcase it.
That's a great point. But you also had Bruce Lee was inspirational.
Yes.
And we can't forget your mom.
Yes.
And she was extremely inspirational to you.
Yes.
And that's very, very important.
You know, it's almost hard to believe this is a business. It's such a passion to you, and it's such a lifestyle thing. And I think it has such a powerful effect on people at all different ages.
One of the 4 building blocks to being extremely successful, secret weapon, technique, and strategy right here, is love what you do.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
Because that passion,
I feel that. I see that so strongly.
That passion will will more than create a feeling where you overcome anything that's in front of you. You just don't think about it. You don't think about negativity. You don't think about issues or problems because that passion will just drive it away.
And yet Willie added other elements to it: reading, paying attention, listening to others. I mean, you haven't just done it strictly in your own head and done it your own way. You know, bringing in Tony Robbins, bringing in other people, Brian Tracy. There are a lot of things to be learned from others, and you've incorporated that in what you do. So here we have this challenging business environment. That's why I come back to it's hard to believe this is a business, but you're affected by it like anybody else. The economy has been very tight. What have you done to deal with this?
Well, I think the key is listening to I call my family because I don't look at them as customers. I listen to the moms, I listen to the kids, and I communicate and I look at what their needs are. And I begin to make adjustments. And, you know, if you have to help out here and there and, you know, just try to, once again, people got to find value in what they're participating in. The one thing that we see that regardless of how bad things may be for some people, if you go to the gym and you work out, you're going to feel better. You know, you can pick up a drink, you can do whatever. But if you go to the gym, and we know, look at the fitness industry, the one thing we need is a healthy lifestyle. When you got that, you can break down buildings. So when they walk into that dojo, I got to let them see that these values in this martial art school is going to empower you to get up. And like you said, when you're passionate, you're going to break through everything. And I got to bring forth that passion by just accelerating them to want to get up and just go and attack the world. And because of that, people continue to come to our school. And I'll be honest with them. I'm there to help them out on and on, because what's so awesome about martial arts school, you find yourself teaching a parent and you're teaching their kid, then the kid goes off to college and comes back and you're teaching their kids. And we done had so many great success stories. We got kids that went on in movies and TV. And so when a person walks in, it's like, I guarantee you, if you just surrender, I will help you achieve the greatest goals that you never thought was possible.
So when they come into your place, and this is just a little side note, are they expecting the TV mixed martial arts? Is that the first thing in their mind? Are they expecting, what's the guy's, I'm sorry, Chuck
Norris.
Chuck Norris. You know, Chuck Norris. I mean, are they expecting to go through all this, or do you have to deal with that as a side situation and say, let me bring you back to the reality?
Well, I think a lot of people don't know what they're looking for. There is just a mystical feeling about martial arts. We are a family school, so I don't really want to deal with that combative, the mixed martial arts element. What I want to do is build the kid up. I want the kid to improve his self-esteem and get better grades in school and go off to college and combat the obesity problem. And in return, you're doing the same thing for the mom and the dad. So when a mom comes in to bring her kid in for the bullying issue, what ends up happening now, the mom begins to participate, the dad's participating, and it becomes a whole family lifestyle change. And that's the remarkable thing that you see. And the fighting, if you ever have to use this on the street, you done already lost the fight. We should be training to become better people. When we better people and we got good spirit, it's like you said, when we got a great attitude and walk in a room, we should vibrate that room and make everybody feel great.
Yeah, terrific points, terrific points. We got a break for our next commercial. You're going to stay here with us, so we're going to close it. But real quickly before we break, tell our listening audience how they can contact BAMS Kung Fu.
You can contact us at thebamskungfu@AOL.com, or you can reach out 301-776-0909.
So that's 776-0909, area code 301.
Yes.